Hey, how are you doing? Welcome to Live Talk. I'm Dr. Taylor. Guess what? Today we're going to talk about domestic violence. Domestic violence is a big thing. I actually was a victim of domestic violence myself. I'm sure there's many women who've been through domestic violence and become codependent of domestic violence. They end up getting relationships that are similar to the relationship that they had before because they think that person loves them or that they're good to them because the man is abusive toward them or treating them a certain kind of way that many would feel that is unnatural or uncommon, or I wouldn't say uncommon, maybe not normal. We all deserve to be treated like all the beautiful queens that we are, and men deserve to be treated like the kings that they are. We shouldn't be treated any less, and we should not feel that we should be treated any less than that. Women 1 out of 10 women suffer from severe trauma as a result of domestic violence. Women sustain many injuries. They feel like they're scared to leave because the loved one may be able to do something. And there is outlets out there for it. There's Weave. There's other programs that women, and I know that it's temporary and you're concerned, okay, this is only a temporary fix. I got to go back home, I got to go back to school, I got to go back to work, and I'm still going to be dealing with that person. Well, there's other ways to protect yourself if you're dealing with domestic violence. You can leave the state, you can move away, you can get a restraining order, and I know the restraining order for many women feel that it doesn't work, that you still become a victim, you're still being stalked, but the restraining order does help. That lets the courts know that there's a predator out there who's been chasing you down, who's been stalking you, who's been abusive toward you, who will not leave you alone. If something happens to you, or if he becomes in the vicinity, they have it on record. I mean, one of the things women, when they're dealing with domestic violence, is to get into a self-help group. Talk with other women who are going through the same problems, who are dealing with domestic violence. You deserve better in life. We all deserve to be treated right, be treated good, to be loved, to be cherished, and not beat on. We're not punching bags. We're not something you could just sock on and punch on. You have black eyes, busted lips, and all different kind of other things that you feel that you should be able to do to a woman. That's not treating a woman good, and if anyone told you that is, then they're wrong. Domestic violence is real. It's something that women have been dealing with for many years, and it's kind of sometimes, back in the olden days, it wasn't even talked about, but today it's more prevalent because, there's a lot of men in prison behind women, or behind killing women, or doing bodily harm to women to where it's severe, and there's women who have been just set on fire, and all different kinds of stuff. Sometimes you really have to assess your situation. You may have to make some serious life changes. You may have to go under secret witness protection. I mean, it may lead to that, and a lot of times we're scared to give up all that we have. We're scared to give up our jobs. We're scared to leave our families, our loved ones. But sometimes it's necessary. Sometimes it's necessary to make a change. Sometimes it's necessary to leave the state. Sometimes it's necessary to save enough money so that you can just move away, start your life all over again. And you'd be surprised, it doesn't hurt to start a new life. It doesn't hurt to travel and go somewhere else and start anew. It's scary. Yes, it is. It's scary. But the reality of it is you're free. You're free from the abuse. You're free from somebody choking on you and slapping you and calling you all kind of names that other than your real name. You're free from all of that. And sometimes it's good to hear someone else talk about domestic violence. It's good to hear somebody else's story. And that's why there's a lot of self-help groups out there. There's a lot of domestic violence groups that get together on a monthly basis. You can look in your local phone book, look on the internet, do some research, call Weave, Women Escaping a Violent Environment. I mean, there's just outlets. You can even send me a message, and just talk about some of the things you're going through, and we can just share ideals and information on things that you could do that can help get out of the situation, or perhaps you can get a referral for places that you can go to get help, or resources or information that you may need to help you to get out of that violent environment. Nobody deserves, like I said, to be a punching bag. I mean, it doesn't feel good. It's painful. I know many women who've lost their teeth and, hair pulled out. The kids see all that abuse, and then they become a product of their environment. They think it's okay to beat on women. They grow up and they end up doing the same thing. Some kids may, become violent later in life because that's all they've seen in the home. You have to think about your children. You got to think about your children. You got to think about what's best for them. You got to think about what would you do if you was in that situation, and they're your kids or they're your grandkids, and you see that, you want to make sure that your kids are in a safe environment. And most of all, you want to make sure that you're in a safe environment so that you can take care of your kids. And love hurts. Love hurts, but trust me, getting punched in the face hurt more, repetitively. So you have to evaluate who loves you the most, the punch, or do you love yourself the most? And a lot of times women don't love themselves. They seek love through abuse, and that's not the answer. You have to love yourself first. The first law of nature is self-preservation. You got to love yourself before you can love anybody else. And that means taking care of yourself. It means getting out of a situation that's unhealthy for you. Trust me, you'll find somebody else. There's tons of fish in the sea, so they say. There's tons of men out there. There's tons of women out there. Whatever your preference is when it comes to relationships. But it's better to find something that's more healthy for you. Where you're free from, being a punching bag. You need to find somebody that's going to treat you right. Or just be single. Be happy and be single. Even being single would bring you peace and joy. The only person that you can get mad at is yourself. The only person who can possibly hit you is yourself. And that's something you don't want to do, of course. So, reevaluate your life. If you come from a family of abuse, it doesn't mean it has to be abuse for you too. It means that maybe you should take a different path. Just decide, look, I don't want to go through this anymore. I don't want to be beat on anymore. I don't want to be abused anymore. I don't want to be hit anymore. I deserve a better life. I deserve to be free from all of this. And walk away. Walk away and find happiness. And it may not be that easy. Let me tell you a story about my father. My father told his sister to leave a man who was abusive. And when he told her that, the man killed her. He stabbed her 50 times. My father has been living with that guilt all the days of his life because he told his sister to get away from an abusive situation. And I say that because, when you're trying to get out of abusive situations, sometimes it requires strategy. It requires that you make sure that you're safe in getting out of that abusive relationship. It requires that you use measures to ensure the safety of yourself and your children to get out of the abusive relationship. Because it very well may result in what happened to my dad's sister. Something that he, ponders over for all the days of his life because his sister lost her life because she was trying to be free from all the abuse. And ultimately it costed her life. Many women have become victims, and have not made it. And there's other women who have made it and that are no longer victims, who have found a way out, who've got out of those abusive relationships, who went through identity change and just left. And sometimes if you know that you're dealing with somebody who's just totally obsessed with you and you feel that they may do bodily harm to you, you may have to think of a strategy to get out of that situation. You may have to think of a way to get away, to make sure that you're safe, and to get away safely. But the most important thing is to remember is that the first law of nature is self-preservation. You have to love yourself. You have to love yourself first before you can love your kids, before you can do anything in your life. And once you establish that love for yourself and you move into a positive direction, trust me, you'll decide what's best for you and what's best for your life, and you'll make the right decision. This is Dr. Taylor from Live Talk, and stay tuned for my next segment. It's a secret, but I will talk with you then. Have a great day.